Good evening. I'd like to call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Commissioners for August the 3rd, 2026. We will be having our invocation tonight led by County Manager Lance Metzler and then the Pledge of Allegiance by Town Alderman Mickey Silvers. So if everyone could please stand if able.
Would please join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, as the County Board of Commissioners gathers for this meeting, we ask for your wisdom, discernment, and unity. Guide each discussion and decision so they may serve the people of Rockingham County with integrity, fairness, and compassion. Grant patience in debate, clarity in planning, and respect among all present. Help these leaders work together for the safety, growth, and well-being of our communities. May their service reflect dedication to the public good and bring positive outcomes for all citizens. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
First, let me thank the commissioners for allowing me to do this evening. So if everyone could, disabled, please remain standing. If you have on a hat or a cap, please remove it. Put your right hand over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 4 on our agenda, which is a recognition. Mr. Metzler, if you would take it from there.
Yes, it's a privilege for me to be able to recognize, I always call him Sheriff Page, Sam Page. I've been here a little over 14 years. Sam's been here 28 years, so I think I've been here half, so I got another, which I'm not going to do 14 years. I can assure you of that. Tonight, we're recognition of Sheriff Samuel S. Page on the occasion of his retirement. Samuel S. Page, who was born in Reidsville and is a lifelong resident of Rockingham County, has given his commitment to public service for the protection of the citizens of Rockingham County. He began his law enforcement career in the United States Air Force as a K-9 handler in 1975 and served with the Sheriff's Office and Eden Police Department before being elected to sheriff in 1998. He has been elected sheriff for 7 continuous terms and served as the president of the North Carolina Sheriff's Association from 2010 to 2011. Remains a member of the executive committee and also served on the National Sheriff's Association as co-chairman of the National Border Security Committee. Sheriff Page has supported programs such as DARE and GREAT, advocated for school resource officers in every school, served on the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council and Teen Court, remained actively involved with students through Read Across America, ROTC programs, and school athletics. Under the leadership of the sheriff, his office implemented Operation Medicine Drop, equipped every deputy with Narcan in response to the opioid crisis, placed AEDs in every patrol car, established the jail ministry, expanded community outreach through Touch a Truck, distributed donated fans to senior citizens in need, collected toys for children at Christmas, and strengthened support of Crime Stoppers and Project Lifesaver. And through helping sheriffs, has sent deputies and resources to assist other communities with hurricanes, and most recently, the flooding caused by Hurricane Helene. Sheriff Samuel S. Page is recognized at 28 years on the occasion of his retirement from the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office and for his service to Rockingham County. This, the 3rd day of August 2026. Sheriff.
That takes us to item 5 on our agenda, which is the approval of the August 3rd agenda. Gentlemen, you've had a chance to look over this. Do we have a motion to approve or any amendments?
Motion as is.
Motion that is by Commissioner Richardson.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Callum. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 6 is our consent agenda. Items under the consent agenda are considered to be non-controversial in nature. If you have any questions about anything on the consent agenda, please reach out to the county manager's office. Gentlemen, do we have a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hall.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Richardson. All in favor?
Aye.
That takes us to item 7, which is public comment. Tonight, we have one person signed up, Captain Jennifer Brown. If you please come to the front. And if somebody would like to read the rules for us.
Sure. Mr. Chair, the public comment period shall be the purpose of allowing members of the public to present any matter pertaining to county business or items on the Board of Commissioners' agenda. Remarks shall be addressed directly to the Board of Commissioners, not to the staff, the audience, and media. The chairperson did open the public comment period. Any speaker who wishes to speak shall obviously approach the podium. Each speaker shall clearly state his or her name and physical address when he or she approaches the podium. Your time will be displayed on the monitor in front of you. The clock will start with 3 minutes unless you're not going to be yielded time, I guess. You'll hear a beep at 1 minute to alert you to wrap up your comments. Speakers will not be allowed to campaign for public office, promote private business ventures, or use language of a personal nature which insults or demeans any person or which, when directed at a public official, is not related to his or her official duties. The Board of Commissioners may accept written comments in lieu of oral statements. Written statements can be delivered to the county manager's office. Mr. Chair.
Thanks, sir. Captain Brown, name and address, please, and at your pleasure.
Jennifer Brown. I reside at 1316 Hawthorne Avenue, Reidsville, North Carolina. Although for the last 30 years, I felt like I've resided at the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office, where I have served since 1994. And tonight was not planned, but I felt just a real need as I look at my coworkers in the back, who I consider my family. And I want to take this opportunity just to say to the men and women of the Sheriff's Office, in our patrol division, our detective division, our bailiffs, our records administration, our civil officers, our detention officers, our animal control officers, our bailiffs, our maintenance workers, we are a family. And what I want them to know is how much I appreciate them all. And I have for all these years. And I told myself I was not going to get upset. But in a world where there's so much negativity and looking for the bad, I just want to lift these folks up and say how proud I am to have served with them all these years, including the sheriff. And I implore them to hold their heads high, to not let the negativity bring them down. I know how hard it is every day to come to work in a position where, unfortunately, a lot of times there's no thanks. I want them to know that I care. I will continue to care. I want them to be strong. I want them to stand up as I have for what they believe is right, to not let bullies or the unfortunate people who want to bring us down, to let that have just a negative effect on them. I want them to know the difference they've made in my life, and the lives of many others in Rockingham County and beyond. And tonight, I just want to thank them all and let them know that I love them, that I care, and just to keep their heads up and to keep on fighting for what's right. Thank you.
That is everyone that was signed up for public comment. So that will take us to item 8, presentation by Ms. Emily Stupka from the Transportation Engineering 3 NCDOT. And I apologize if I did not pronounce your last name correctly.
Well, good evening, Commissioners. Thank you guys for having us. I appreciate your time today. My name is Emily Stupka. I'm a transportation engineer with the NCDOT in our Transportation Planning Division. And I am the project engineer for the Rockingham County Comprehensive Transportation Plan. So we're here today to talk about the plan, go over what is a CTP, why is it important, why do we do them, talk a little bit about the process of the Rockingham County CTP, then talk about some of the recommendations we have, and then we are coming back at the next meeting to ask you guys to consider adopting the plan, and then we should have plenty of time for questions. So I'm going to introduce Devin Jones, who is our HBCU fellow who's been working with us for the past year. He's going to help with the presentation. Also here today is my supervisor, Andy Bailey, who runs the Western Piedmont Planning Group. And then also Dawn Valliere, who is your Piedmont Triad RPO coordinator. So a really great resource to reach out to. Devin? Just got to click down there.
All right, cool. Good evening, board.
Good evening.
So I'll be going over briefly what is a CTP. So a comprehensive transportation plan is a long-range need-based plan, and it's based off the consensus of the community, and it's looking out on a 25 to 30-year plan, but it can be updated every 8 to 10 years, just depending on the size of the county and the community. It's developed alongside local stakeholders, the RPO, NCDOT, and it considers all multimodal transportation plans. So that's including highways, bicycle, pedestrian, public transit, rail, airports, and ferries. It's important that we identify these needs and future transportation needs within the community. These recommendations can be submitted for future funding. It does not guarantee that projects will be coming into the county. However, it doesn't necessarily guarantee these projects to come, like I said. It aligns with the Complete Streets policy, which means it better supports bike and pedestrian recommendations throughout the county. And it informs the county on prioritization, project development, design, and plans can also be amended through these. 1 second. So here displayed on the screen, this is the comprehensive plan and the project development process that we have at CDOT. We first start with the long range planning, and that's basically determining the needs. We transition to prioritization, programming, project development, project design, construction, and maintenance. Here depicted is the comprehensive plan timeline for Rockingham specific comprehensive plan. So we started this comprehensive plan back in 2023 in the winter, and that's where we kind of just went over and found deficiencies and evaluated some of the needs that are found within Rockingham County. We're looking at step 2 here in the fall of 2024, where we conducted the needs-based assessment, did highway analysis, and also perform non-highway analysis as well. We're moving towards fall of 2025 and the spring of 2026, where we drafted and completed a plan here. And now we're looking in the late summer and the fall stage, where we're looking for county adoption later on in the month. And I'll pass it back over to Emily to explain a little bit further about specific projects and recommendations.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Devin. So we had 2 public engagement opportunities throughout this process. So we have one early on in the process, which is to get feedback from the community and what their concerns are throughout the county. And then that's how we develop some of our recommendations. And then we have one later on in the process to get feedback about the recommendations themselves. So we did that over the spring, and we had 5 public engagement opportunities. We had it at the Reidsville Library, the Eden Library, the Reidsville YMCA, the Madison Main and Rec Center, and then we had one at one of the Stoneville public offices. And as Evan said, we're right now in the adoption step, so that second to last step. So we have been approved by all of the municipalities except for Stoneville. Stoneville has seen these recommendations. We're confident they are going to be approving it tomorrow. So fingers crossed with that, but every other municipality has approved this plan so far. So before I get into the recommendations, I kind of wanted to talk about some language you might be hearing. One is the term modernization. So modernization improvements are when we are typically addressing substandard roadway design. So this can include, but it's not limited to, things like inadequate lane widths. So the lane widths are not what we would design for today. Maybe there's no shoulder, a small shoulder, an unpaved shoulder, and maybe there's some horizontal or vertical alignment issues. So sharp curves or maybe hills that are dangerous. And then we also have some intersection improvements, and these also involve some type of deficiency at the intersection. So that might be a high frequency number of crashes, so lots of crashes at this intersection. It could also be that there's not necessarily a lot of crashes, but the ones that have happened have been severe. So maybe they've unfortunately led to a fatality or severe injury. It could also be storage issues. So maybe there's a turn lane, but there's not enough room for the cars to line up properly there, and that's causing some backup. It could just be general traffic congestion at the intersection. And it could also be alignment issues. So maybe some outdated intersections that are kind of wonky, confusing, and dangerous. Again, just not how we would build them today. And as Devin mentioned earlier, all these recommendations are at a planning level. So we're not the ones necessarily designing it, but we're recommending these projects. There's a need for these projects to exist. Design would come further down the line if these projects would get through prioritization. So this first map you'll see are our highway recommendations across the county. There's quite a few of them, so I'm not going to talk about all of them. As I said, the municipalities have approved the recommendations within those municipalities. So I'm going to talk about some that are kind of county-wide, but all of the recommendations are included in your packet if you want to look at them further. The first one I want to talk about is Project 3, which is US 220. Hopefully you guys have heard of this before, but we would like to upgrade US 220 to interstate standards. This would be from Virginia to NC 68 interchange, and we would like to construct interchange at Martinsville Loop, Sardis Church Road, NC 135, and Simpson Road. And this is, of course, to improve statewide reliability and connectivity. And there are feasibility studies under the way for this. So hopefully more information will come later. Very similarly, we have a recommendation for US 29 to improve that to interstate standards. This is from Caswell County to Guilford County. Again, this would improve statewide reliability, and there would be an interchange recommendation at Barnes Street. The next one I want to point out is Project 7. This is NC 87. This is from County Home Road to US 29 Business. This project is currently funded. So for this project, the right-of-way date is predicted to be 2030, and it's predicted to be under construction by 2034. So for this recommendation, it would be to widen NC 6587 to a 5-lane facility with a center left turn lane from NC 6587 to Sandy Cross Road / Wentworth Street, and then modernize the rest of that to US 29. And this project also includes some pedestrian facility recommendations as well. And then the next one I want to mention is NC 14. NC 14, this is from Tallowee Road to US 29. This would be to convert NC 14 from its existing 5-lane facility with a center turn lane to a 4-lane facility with a median and then turn bays at those major intersections and point of activity from US 29 in Reidsville to US 311 in Eden. And this would be to improve the mobility and safety. We did seek support from Eden. They seem to support this, especially the safety aspects that it would improve. So I just mentioned a few of those that are kind of more county-wide, but you can see all of those in the tables following those maps. So this next map is a facility types map, and this map just shows if all of those highway recommendations were to get built, how would it change your facility types in the county? So you'll see they're color-coded here. Bringing those up to interstate standards would make those freeways, so you'll see those thick red lines. And then some of those other improvements would turn some of these roads into boulevards, and those are the yellow lines. And then actually, let me back up a little more. One thing I did want to mention when we talked about modernization, so all of those light blue lines that you see on those maps that I did not mention, which are the non-interstate standard improvements, those are modernizations. You'll see a lot of those blue lines, and like I talked about, those are just improving those roads to modern standards. So a lot of those are minor projects, which would be to maybe widen very narrow roads that are only 9, 10-foot lanes to 11 or 12-foot lanes, maybe add some paved shoulders, improve some alignment issues. So that's why you see so much of those light blue lines. Next, I'm going to talk about public transit and rail. So we have 3 recommendations for that. The first one is US 220. We are recommending a regional bus corridor, and this would go from Virginia to NC 80 or 60 interchange. just to help connect this county to Greensboro. And then very similar on US 29 to also help improve access to Greensboro. We heard this a lot in public engagement, people seeking to get to Greensboro for medical appointments or work. So that's something we'd like to include. And then you'll see a lot of green on the map. These are our recommendations to expand the SCAT routes. So one thing we heard was we'd like to see an expansion of the SCAT routes in between the towns. So instead of only including the 3 towns and going in the same loop, to include better connections between towns and make it easier to travel. And then you'll see that list following this map.
Emily, if I could jump in for just a
Yeah, go
second. With the regional bus routes, who operates the regional bus routes?
I think it would depend. Andy, I don't know if you want to jump in with this. I know that there's some regional bus routes that are funded by, that are supported by like Greyhound or Sunways charters.
Yeah, so first off, yeah, you do have a Sunway charter that goes between, of course, Danville and down toward Greensboro, Winston-Salem, which is already there. This would probably be a partnership potentially with PART, but doesn't have to be. Could be a county-led expansion as well.
Okay, so not a private-public partnership, but a partnership with the,
It could be a private-public partnership as well. I mean, that could be a Sunway Charters type deal as well. I know that Sunway Charters has 2 buses, one in each direction in the morning and one in each direction in the afternoon. Maybe it would be something like that where you could have even more routes to be able to do that connection.
and is that something, the partnerships through the state, or would that be through the county?
That could be both. And that's where I want to make sure, because I know that with our intermodal division, we have had lots of expansions of buses, whether they're Greyhound or Sunway charters throughout the state. So that would be something to coordinate with the state and the county on to coordinate those potential expansions.
Thank you. And Commissioner Richardson?
Stay there a second. The Regional Transit Authority for us is PART, and they do use state and federal funds. And at the present time, our county does not contribute to the overall funding for PART. However, PART provides, in addition to buses and buses of various sizes, they provide van pools. Gildan, for example, is a heavy user, and those are dealt with separate from going through the county. You deal directly with PART. And I'm just mentioning this for public information because we are looking at, or I'm the representative to PART, so I'm aware of it. In fact, I chair the PART board. We're looking at things like park and drive for the airport, connectivity to our own transits. We have a locally provided bus service there. And so we're looking at that. And for anybody in the public that is really interested in public transport, contact me or somebody here in the county, like our county manager, and you will have the opportunity, should you care to discuss it, to present that in front of the PART board, which meets monthly.
Very good. And I will say this is a menu of options here. This is not a one size fits all. And so I think things like van pools and car pools and park and rides do play a part in possibilities doesn't have to be a PART bus, or it doesn't have to be a Sunway charter. It can be a myriad of choices that you have.
Thank you, sir. Emily, please continue.
Yeah. And as you can see, some of the recommendations are kind of vague to leave it, open to options. As I said, design comes later. And we just want to recognize that there is a need and a want for this to exist. So next I'm going to mention bike and ped. So this is a little bit of a scary map. So let me explain what you're looking at. So the yellow lines on the map would be where we're recommending bicycle accommodations. Purple would be your pedestrian accommodations, so usually sidewalks. Green is your bike and ped, so this is usually where there's either a bike lane and a sidewalk or maybe some type of side path. And then brown are your multi-use paths, and these are, you can think of greenways when it comes to these brown lines or side paths. So there's a lot going on. A lot of these recommendations came from the county plan, which is that Vision 2040 plan. There was a lot of recommendations from the Madison Maiden Rec plan, and then from other town plans that have existed over the years. Our goal is to really connect the towns to each other and to the parks. And like I said, the towns have adopted their bike and ped maps, besides Stoneville, fingers crossed tomorrow. So I did not include the full list because there's about 200 bike and ped projects. So I included the list of the multi-use paths that run between towns. So you'll see that in your packet. And again, these are greenways. So those are these, off-road facilities that are very safe to help you guys connect to nature, connect you guys to destinations, and just make a really enjoyable experience. I will say there were two small changes that happened during the adoptions of Madison and Reidsville. So we had a very small sidewalk addition in Madison to help connect downtown Madison to their Dollar General. And then we also had a small sidewalk extension in Reidsville to connect up to their Walmart past the bridge. So those are not reflected in the map, but they will be at the next meeting on August 17th. So we are not seeking action today. We'll be back for the August 17th meeting for the public hearing and to seek adoption for this plan. I guess I'll open it up to any questions. Our contact information is here. Again, my name's Emily Stupka, Andy Bailey, and then Tim Anamashon, who's not here today, is your Piedmont Triad RPO coordinator for NCDOT. So he's a great resource as well. And then we've also linked our project website where you can find a lot more information, or you can scan a QR code as well.
Thank you very much, Ms. Stopka. Gentlemen, do we have any questions at this time? Thank you very much.
Well, if you do between now and the next meeting, feel free to reach out. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for being here this evening. That takes us to item 9, new business. Mr. Metzler, do we have any new business this evening?
No, sir.
That takes us to item 10, commissioner comments. I'll begin with Commissioner Callum.
I'd like to thank members of the Sheriff's Department for showing up tonight. I'd like to thank Jason Hutchinson for stepping in as intern sheriff over the weekend. Also like to congratulate Billy Parker for becoming sheriff in the morning. And I just want to read, tonight is my privilege to recognize a man whose name has become synonymous with service, leadership, and dedication to the county. Sheriff Sam Page retired as the longest serving sheriff in the history of our county. That distinction alone is remarkable, but what truly defines his legacy is not simply the numbers of years, it's the lives he touched, the communities he protected, and the example he set. For nearly 3 decades, Sheriff Page answered the call to serve. He led through times of growth, uncertainty, and challenge, always carrying the tremendous responsibility of protecting the people of Rockingham County. While many of us know the title of sheriff, only those who have worn the badge truly understand the weight of the office. It demands courage, integrity, wisdom, and willingness to make difficult decisions when others cannot. Sheriff Page disseminated those qualities day by day. His steady leadership helped build a sheriff's office that earned trust and respect of the people he served. He understood law enforcement is just not about enforcing the law, it's about building relationships, serving the community, and treating every person with dignity and respect. His impact reaches far beyond the walls of the sheriff's office. The deputies who have served under him, who have become leaders themselves, he's worked along local police departments, fire, EMS, emergency service, schools, churches, countless community organizations to make Rockingham a safer place to live, work, and to raise a family. No public servant achieves this alone. I also want to recognize Sam Page's family. Behind every career in a public service is a family that sacrifices holidays, evenings, weekends, and time together. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your patience and for sharing Sam Page with the people of Rockingham County. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Callum. Commissioner Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, thanks to all the attendees here and those folks that are looking in. We appreciate that. I want to take just a moment to recognize Jennifer Brown, who is also retiring this month. And I guess I get to see more than any other deputy Jennifer Brown because she spends a lot of time working on budget, particularly with the assistant county manager. And she's done a fine job over the years, and we wish her well in her own retirement. As usual, I like to also recognize a county government employee, and this particular time, I believe our counselor might talk about this particular employee. Your paralegal over there, and I've recognized her before, has had 22 years of full-time service, but has been in service to us since 1993. And she had various part-time jobs, and she's filled in more than adequately on the many times that we can have. I'm going to give you a chance to say something about her if you like.
Well, she's been here longer than I have. But she does have a wealth of knowledge about the county and the things that have happened in the county. It's very helpful when you're looking for documents and looking for things in the past, because she can pull it right back up. And she knows so many people in the county. She can tell you who's related to whom. So, and she's a great person to work with. And I put a lot on her this year, but she's still here. So.
And she also runs the blood program for
Blood drives and the budgeting and other things in my office, yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Richardson. Commissioner Berger.
No comment.
Commissioner Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As usual, I'd like to recognize our elected officials here tonight. We have Jason Wood, Eden City Council. We have Philip Butler, Rockingham County School Board. Thank you for being here. And of course, we had our former sheriff, Sam Page, was in attendance tonight. We also have, he's not elected, but our interim sheriff, Billy Parker, is in attendance tonight. So we appreciate you. I'd like to thank all the law enforcement officers for being here tonight. We appreciate you guys. And with that, Mr. Chair, I'm done.
Thank you, Commissioner Hall. I again want to extend congratulations and best in his future endeavors to Sam Page. We appreciate all of your years of devoted service to the county, and you were certainly the most popular politician there's ever been around here, and you will be sorely missed by a lot of people. So thank you for all of your service. Our next meeting will be here in the Commissioner's Chambers, August the 19th at 6:30.
17th.
I'm sorry, August 17th. I don't have my glasses. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hall, second by Commissioner Callum. All in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned.